It's Mr. Perry again with the latest instalment of the Year 6 story time. This week we are going to have a look at this really intriguing storybook called The Mysteries of Harris Burdick by Chris Van Allsburg. I'm not going to talk too much about it right now. What I am going to do straight away is jump in and read you the introduction, which is written by Chris Van Allsburg, to explain what this whole thing is about and what we mean by these mysteries. All will soon be revealed. So, introduction. I first saw the drawings in this book a year ago, in the home of a man named Peter Wenders. Though Mr. Wenders is retired now, he once worked for a children's book publisher, choosing stories and pictures that would be turned into books. 30 years ago, a man called at Peter Wenders' office, introducing himself as Harris Burdick. Mr. Burdick explained that he had written 14 stories and had drawn many pictures for each one. He brought with him just one picture from each story to see if Wenders liked his work. Peter Wenders was fascinated by the drawings. He told Burdick he would like to read the stories that went with them as soon as possible. The artist agreed to bring the stories the next morning. He left the 14 drawings with Wenders, but he did not return the next day, or the day after that. Harris Burdick was never heard from again. Over the years, Wenders tried to find out who Burdick was and what happened to him. He discovered nothing. To this day, Harris Burdick remains a complete mystery. His disappearance is not the only mystery left behind. What were the stories that went with these drawings? There are some clues. Burdick had written a title and a caption for each story. When I told Wenders how difficult it was to look at the drawings and their captions without imagining a story, he smiled and left the room. He returned with a dust-covered cardboard box. Inside were dozens of stories, all inspired by the Burdick drawings. They'd been written years ago by Wenders' children and their friends. I spent the rest of my visit reading these stories. They were remarkable. Some bizarre, some funny, some downright scary. In the hope that other children will be inspired by them, the Burdick drawings are reproduced here for the very first time. So what we're going to do is just have a look at the first one. So each of these pairs of pages are going to be similar. So you get a title, Archie Smith, Boy Wonder. Straight away I'm wondering, what makes him a boy wonder? What is special about this Archie Smith? That's the title of the story. And then we've got here a caption that's going to go with the picture. A tiny voice asked, is he the one? The one who? What are we on about? Is Archie Smith the one? What do they mean? And a tiny voice, why is it so tiny? Let's have a look at the picture, see what clues we've got. So, it's just a boy asleep in his bedroom. It's like quite a nice house. The windows are open. And look, in come through the window these little glowing balls of light. Are they the ones who are speaking? What other clues are there? Baseball back there. Is he a keen amateur sportsman? Or is there something more sinister going on? So, this is what we want you to do. Think about the story. It's the same for many of these. There are some absolutely brilliant pictures and some intriguing titles and some intriguing captions. So what we're going to ask you to do is try and reimagine the stories that Harris Burdick actually wrote. Think, are you looking at the end of the story, the beginning of the story, the middle of the story? Who are these people? What clues are there in the picture? How are these stories scary or funny? Really, really think and use your imagination and let it run riot. Yeah? So we're going to set this work for your work at home. Go mad with it. Write the stories in any way you want. You can do comic strips, you can do scripts, you can do short stories, you can do picture books, you can do animations. Really, really go for it. Got total freedom to do what you want with this. Just use these brilliant resources, brilliant ideas to get your mind working overtime. Enjoy this task. It's a cracker.